Well, it finally stopped raining and I decided to start working on my cabinet, and I picked up the material yesterday and I've been working on back of my table here, my back of my truck as a table. And the drawing is busy. I already got this sheet, which is this one here. I had to do some modification. I did also the first one that was fairly easy. I had to design those cuts. I mean, not design them, mark them out. And then this one is the easiest one. And my neck hurts because I've been leaning over. And let's see if this thing is going to work. Let's see if this is going to work, because I managed to put just what I needed in on the board. This one here, it's these are the bottom pieces. These are the sliders. That's dead space. Drawer, bottom base, bottom drawer, top cap. I made this one a little bigger. Dead space, and backstop. So I said, I've been in the sun. Now my head hurts. Even though I was wearing a cap, but I said, you know what, I need a break. So I'm gonna sit down. I just had lunch, and I'm gonna smoke a cigar because there's a lot of stuff going on. I got the I put my charging from the truck, which is a 1000, on the quad, and almost started, but the battery is kaput. It doesn't charge. So I'm gonna return it. I mean, I'm gonna get another battery. And then I bought this for the Blazer. It's a high country suspension for the steering. The truck does this, right? And I'm driving in it, and I'm thinking, okay, maybe the steering is too loose. But now I'm thinking, when was the last time I had that truck, the wheels aligned? And I don't think I've done it for a long time. So first I'm going to get it aligned, because the shock shouldn't be bad. You don't get that much use of it, but maybe it is. But first I'm going to get it aligned, and then I'm going to drive it. And then I'm going to see if it still moves around like that. And then I'll make a decision if I'm going to install that. This thing is heavy. This thing is easy 35 pounds. And I'm going, why is it so heavy? I don't remember. Well, no, it's more like 20 pounds. I'm exaggerating. Right, so I went to see the truck. Wait, let me light this thing up, because and I was thinking of going to the Bud today, which is a good day to go, but working on those boards, and I've only done 3. It takes me about, because I gotta double check the measurements, so it's not just draw it up, I gotta go to the computer, and I've done some minor adjustment, because I decided to make the cap just a quarter, half an inch longer. So I had to rearrange it, and I looked, I had space, and I said, okay, move everything down, make this bigger. So I had to go to the computer, change things, change the numbers, print out a new sheet, go over here, draw it up, da da da. So it's taking me like 45 minutes per sheet. And then I still got 2 more to go. And I said, let me just sit down. And the boat's gonna have to wait until tomorrow. I gotta go to a birthday party in the morning for this my nephew's kid. And at first I said no, and then they keep asking, and I said, all right, I'll go. I mean, it's family. You gotta spend some time with the family. But and this is the New World, the one that I started and didn't finish. Let's see if we can finish it today, because it was so cold in the garage that I said no, cut it, put it away. But this morning was cold. It was 45, and I said, "Woo!" I said, "Okay, I'm not going to the boat because I'm freezing down there." And then I said, "Well, I can work in the back of the truck." I moved it out over a little bit and got Big Blanco warmed up. Got it started. Moved it back and forth a little bit. I got to start looking into it, but I went to the shop to see the truck. The truck is finished, and the guy went and painted at no extra charge. He says he didn't wanna paint half here and half there. It wasn't gonna look good. He doesn't do that kind of work. So he actually painted the whole sides and the hood. Oh man. Okay guys, here's the big boy. He went and painted the whole truck. He said he didn't want to do a half-ass job. This door wasn't supposed to be painted, but he painted it. He uh, he still got to install the rubbers over here. Oh, I think he did already. I don't know. I gotta talk to him. But the guy that has to do the electrical work hasn't arrived, and I don't know what's going on with the guy. That he's not showing up. He said he was really busy, but I don't know. So yeah, this is beautiful. Beautiful job. This guy paints really good. He paints really good. Let me see. I haven't seen the top. See if I can climb on my step here. Beautiful work. Beautiful work. All right, so I just gotta wait for the guy to come and see if he can work on the electrical. The signals are not working, and the lights on the dash are not working. So he's gonna look into it. So that's it. So I'm planning on taking these to the beach, and I want to put it for sale sign and see who wants to buy it. It's not going to be cheap because this truck is prepared. Uh, I'm going to do a video on everything that this truck has. Almost nothing is original. All right, guys, later. And I look at this truck and I'm going, man, this Blaze is such a good-looking truck. I don't want to sell it, but my wife tells me, well, you already have the camper. What do you need? So she wants me to get rid of it, and I'm gonna sell it because I'm not using it. I've used it for a good 30 years. I got my off the what do you call it, the bucket list. I got my trips on that truck all over the West. So I'm pretty happy that I did it because very reliable, very easy to work on it, and I will go and change a fuel pump in 20 minutes. Not with these suckers that they have the pump inside the tank. You gotta drop the tank, and that's a whole different story. Well, with the Blazer, I was coming down Fresno. I think it was 99. It's a highway that goes through the orchards and the avocados and all that uh, farming area. And the truck started putting. And I'm going, oh, what's going on? So I pulled over. I looked at my little glass. That's why I like those glass filters right up in front of the carburetor, and there was no gas in it. Very, very little on the bottom. And I said, okay, I think the pump is bad. And it was the original. So that original lasted. Well, that happened in, what was it, 90 something, 95 or 96. So it lasted good 20 years. So, let's see, 77, 87, 97, yeah, 20 years. So I went and I put my way to a Chief's Auto Part. They're not around anymore. It's probably O'Reilly's now. Who knows who bought it? And I said, hey, you have a pump for a 1977 Blazer? He went back there. Yeah, I got one. Okay, how much? 18 bucks. Here you go. 20 minutes. I got in there, and loosen up the ball, remove the hose, and put the other one in there. And it's a little tricky to get that little shaft to pick up because it keeps dropping down because of the grease. Finally got it up there with a screwdriver and put it in there, and then dropped it and put the two screws. So it took me about 20 minutes. And my uncle just kind of looked over. Got it connected, ran it. Let's keep going. You know, very easy truck to work with, and if you have spare parts and stuff, no problem. One time, the one I was in Wyoming, going into Casper, and one of the lights, it was already getting dark, and one of the lights went out, the headlight, and I pulled into this auto part place and bought the light and replaced it. Just plug it in, couple of screws, boom, keep going. That's what I'm telling you. I mean, now to change a light bulb on Big Blanco, you gotta remove the metal tray that's behind it, and you gotta remove all this stuff, and then you have to get to the back there. It's not the same. It's not the same. They're more complicated vehicles now, and more expensive for the parts. So I'm gonna kind of miss it because that truck's been with me everywhere, and I've taken girls camping, fishing, horseback riding, and other things in that truck, and it's got a lot of memories. I'm gonna be sad when I do sell it, but I got a friend that he had a 69, I think it was a 69 Chevy pickup. It wasn't the square body, it was another type, a little more rounded in the front, and he fixed it up, painted it, the whole thing. He put a lot of money in it, and then he took it, put it up for sale. He said he got 25,000 for it. So let's see what I'm gonna get for this truck. I know it's coveted. Some people want it. So, and the roof is removable. So it's a beach truck. You put your surfboard back in there. Couple of girls, let's go to the beach. Beach boys. Still tastes good. Nuevo Mundo. So I'm doing everything at once. Uh, I really wanted to get this thing started because I want to see if I can do some pig hunting, but I need my bike. So I got to pull. That battery is not easy to get out of there. Not easy to get out of there. So I'm going to have to crawl in there and do it like I did before. That's why I pushed it all the way forward. I got about this much space, and I just sit there. It's tight. Um, I was thinking, I don't know if I was going to talk about this, but I was thinking going elk hunting because I have a 7 mag that I've never used. And, I've taken it to the range and shot it and everything, but I never really hunted. And the reason I bought that rifle was for either mule deer or elk. But you know how it is with the elk. You need to have horses to bring the meat out because the elk is a horse with antlers. I mean, it's huge. So I called my friend in Nevada and I say, hey, find out about going to Idaho and let's see if we can do a hunt up there. But started looking into it, and then I started to look into the conditions, and there was a lot of hunters that were saying that most of the elk it's in the center of the state, and it's rough country, very steep. It's either like that or it's deep like that. And sometimes you're here in a mountain and you see an elk across the canyon and you're going, Jesus Christ. 800-yard shot, and then when you do hit it, what are you gonna do? Because I'm not gonna kill an animal just because I shot it. Leave it there. I'm not gonna kill an animal. I want to be able to take it out, enjoy the meat. You know, I don't know about the antlers because they're huge animals. I'm not gonna put it inside the house. It doesn't fit here in my trophy wall. So I don't know. Maybe they have cow tags. I gotta look into that. But some of these areas they're already booked. I wanted to look into an outfitter that is reasonable, and I found this mom and pop up in Idaho. I don't know exactly the area, and they wanted $9,500. I'm going for a 4-day hunt. I'm going what? $9,500. I heard of 3,000. You know, around there, I'm willing to do something like that. You know, I give you a deposit and then give you a payment, and then at the end, I'll give you the balance. But not $10,000 because you still got to drive up there. It's going to cost you some money in fuel and provisions. And so I called my friend back and I said, hey, listen, there's two reasons why I don't want to go to Idaho. One is the terrain is very steep, and two, it's very expensive for an outer stater. So if you're from out of state, the chances of getting a tag is going to be slim. Most of the tags go to the locals. And then you hear a lot of these guys that are in good shape, they're younger than me, and they say, you know what, I found this elk at the end of the hunting season. You only get 5 days. And they got lucky. But if you're going to spend that kind of money, well, the outfitter may almost, they know where they're at, and they're on horses, so they may almost guarantee you. But if you go on your own, you have a tag, you go on your own, and then you're going to, I don't know what the tag costs for an out of state. It's probably, I don't have an idea. It could be 1,500, it could be 2,500. I don't know. I don't know. Don't have enough fairness idea. I didn't really look any further. I called my friend in Nevada and I said, listen, cancel. Not Idaho. So I said, what about going to hunting deer in Nevada? Because even though he has a cabin here, but he lives in Nevada, you have to, if he declares that he lives in California, he's going to be paying taxes in California. You have to live 6 months in a day according to the rules, and that's where you are declared that you're from. You live 6 months in a day in California, let's say, or in Nevada. You're from Nevada. If you have, 6 and 1 here, you're from here. So he says to buy a deer tag in California now, because he used to go with us all the time, but he moved out. He said now it'll cost me almost $500, and I'm going $500. We're used to paying what? I forgot the last time. It was 650 something, I think it was, and then the license, the tag. I don't know. I gotta find out because I haven't done any couple of years, but it's not $500. So he says, no, I'm going to see if I can hunt in Nevada. And I said, well, let me know if I can go. Find out if you can find a tag for me. And because the thing is that you have to have points and all this stuff. And I don't have a single point. I've never accumulated points for anything because to me it's ridiculous. In the old days, you used to drive up to whatever state and buy the tag over the counter. What's a big deal? Now you go on a draw and you got to have so many points. And you have to, it's a bunch of bulls, what it is. In Colorado, I used to see a banner across the road there when you come into town. I think it was Rifle, the town. And it said, welcome hunters. It make you feel good. You're welcome. They want your business. We used to go into the stores, the gun stores and buy ammo and buy. Some guys will buy a gun, not this crap now that you have to wait, a bunch of days. There was a guy there that he went and bought a quad right there in front of me. He goes, how much for the quad? Oh, $3,500. He goes, oh, I'll take it. He just put it back in his truck and went hunting. That's the way it used to be, and that's the way it should be. Now you can't make a move because you have to see if the draw by March or April, and it's a headache. It's a headache. It just kills the fun of it. You know, I used to go to Wyoming, just buy the tag over the counter. Colorado, the same thing. You know, anywhere. Uh, Over here, you can buy the tag in some places for some areas over the counter, but some areas you got to draw, like X10 and all the X's, all the way up there, 9B, X9A, X9B, and then you got to go to the CX, and then all the way up to the Oregon border. All that area is X, and that is the draw. So that if you invite somebody and you say, okay, let's see, let's make a draw. You know, you invite somebody, you draw and they don't, because for whatever reason they didn't pick him. And I don't like that, because if you have a bunch of people that want to go, let's say 4 guys, they're going to be pitching in for the food, pitching in for the gas, pitching in for anything. You know, if you have a flat tire, you need to buy a tire. Everybody pitches in. Now you can't make plans because you don't know if they're going to make it or not, and you have to try here and try there. It just makes it more difficult. So, and they just do that on purpose, just to screw you, you know. So let's see. He's looking into the Nevada. I'm going to call him later and find out. Did he find out about me going to Nevada? Because I've never been to Nevada. I've gone through it, but I've never been there hunting. And Nevada seems to have some areas that it's a lot of open country, sage and everything, and you can see the deer, and but the terrain might be pretty steep. But I'm kind of curious to see what Nevada has to offer. Um, I know in Wyoming, to me, Wyoming is the best. It's the best. You can see, you can be sitting in camp, and you see the deer up in the hills. You know, same thing with the pronghorn. You can see them. That was back in the 80s. I don't know now how it is. I don't think it has changed much, because Wyoming is the state with the least amount of people, because they have a very rough weather and it's very desolate. And Montana probably has the same problem. You know, Montana snows a lot, and it goes down 30, 40, sometimes 50 degrees below zero. Are you kidding me? And I know somebody that went. A friend of mine told me that he knows somebody that went elk hunting here in California, and he went to the Owens Valley. And the way it works here, well, the way they did it with him, I don't know if this is a thing or it has changed. I hope it has, but the way it is that they know where the herd is, and sometimes I see them when I'm going up 395. And the way it is that the guy goes with the ranger, fishing game, and he looks at the herd. He goes, okay, you see that one? Okay, shoot that one. And you don't pick the one you want to shoot. He tells you the one you're going to shoot. You know? So you get off the truck and boom. That's the way they hunt over here. That's ridiculous. You know, you should choose what game you want to hunt. You pay for it, you know, and the tags. I think the tag was very expensive, and that also got shut to hell because people don't want to go through something like that you don't get to pick and you don't get to go where you want to go. I think they went through some private areas, and you need to be accompanied by a fishing game. You just cannot roam the ranch. I think it was a ranch. Uh, Most of those lands going up the 395, most of that land is privately owned. But one time I pulled over to check the tires on the trailer, on the quad, and I hear, you know, and there was an elk in some trees, just less than 200 yards. There were like a few there, um, because there's some, I think it was barley, or there was something very green planted on this side of the road. On the other side of the road, it was kind of brush and sage and trees. But on this side, it was green, and it must have been barley, it must have been wheat. I don't know. I'm not a farmer, but it was very green. So the elk go there to munch, and then they go hide in the shade, kick back, and there's a little stream back in that area, and they have it made. They're protected. Nobody goes in there after them. So that's the way it is here. But I really wanted to go on an elk hunt because it's gonna get to a point I won't be able to hack the mountains, and I could ride a horse. I can ride a horse, no problem, and then shoot it, all got it, skin it, quarter it, the whole thing. I got the tools for it, and then the outfitter will mount the quarters on the horse, pack it out. That's the way. I would like to do that hunt. Um, there was a place in Colorado back in the day that it was very cheap if you're hunting with a bow and arrow. I still got my gear here, but I won't be. I'm not able to pull it. I haven't really tried because the arm's still not done yet. So I gotta get a surgery. So the bow and arrow, that would have been really interested. I was pretty good shot with a bow. I was pretty good shot. I got a PSI something. I forget the name of the Cobra or something like that. Very quiet and very accurate. And I was pulling back then. I was pulling 75 pounds, and then I started bringing it down to 72, 70, 72, something like that. And I left it there. So I haven't pulled that bow in a long time. More than, I don't know, more than 5 years, 6 years. I haven't pulled it. I had a recurve that I gave it to a friend of mine. He's in Florida. It was a Cougar. Nice wood on that thing. And that was pretty good. I was hitting a plate at 60. That's pretty decent for a recurve. The pull on it, I think it was, I don't know, 50 pounds or something, 50, 55. But there are some bows. I mean, Hoyt had really nice bows. I used to look at all the bows, man. Um, there's one that is like a skeleton. It's all hollow, very light, and you just, you know, nice. All right, so I'm gonna continue now that I cooled off because it's hot. It's about 80 right now, I think. And I'm gonna continue with the drawing and then start cutting. I gotta fix something up. I gotta do some sort of a funnel to funnel down into a bucket the all the cuttings because this plastic starts flying everywhere. You're gonna put a mask because you don't want to breathe this stuff, and then it lands on the floor. And I got gravel, so it goes into the gravel pits and then little things. And I gotta blow it and kind of sweep it. It's a mess, and it's more work for me to try to clean up the mess. So I'm gonna see if I can do a paper bag funnel into a bucket. So the saw cuts down, it'll drop down into that. I gotta come up with some sort of a solution, or hook up a vacuum to the bag. I gotta see. All right, guys. Talk to you later, and I see you on the next one.